Dana White reveals the UFC is going bankrupt. So let me bring you to speed concerning UFC. In the last few days, the president of UFC has spent a great deal of concern relating to the financial stability of this championship. And according to his sentiments, UFC could be running downhill, heading to its losses and possible bankruptcy. Are you aware of this? So let's get to the news. Fighting is a sport that is continually becoming popular and has been used to make millions of money. It is a concept that many business people have invested in and made ridiculous profits. Amongst the most popular and enriching sports is fighting, or wrestling. Wrestlers have thus joined different championships to become renowned champions in the ring, and in return, make a living out of it. However, the big fish that include different investors across the globe have also taken an interest in this lucrative business. This attraction has thus made fighting an attractive sport, increasing the fan base as well as the investment around it. In this episode, we feature UFC as one of the United States' renowned sports worth millions of investments. Along with this episode, we also get to look at whether UFC is still strong to run another season, or it is, as the rumors have, that it could be going bankrupt. To define this game, UFC is an acronym for Ultimate Fighting Championship. This is a game of martial arts based in Nevada. UFC is known to have some of the best and most rigorous fighters in the United States, such as Conor. This includes the list of 8 heavyweight men and 4 strong women that are often ready to get to the ring to strive for the winning championship. As a result, there is heavy investments have been poured into the UFC account. Its investors have also been working tooth and nail behind the curtains to ensure that the fight is going on as scheduled to entertain the fans as they expect more thrill from the game. Due to its impact, the game is worth a multi-million-dollar enterprise today, thanks to its president Dana White. However, Dana White has risen with shocking news about UFC in recent news. Now let us get to the center of this episode. According to the president of UFC, Dana White, the championship could be facing its failure as its finances are dwindling much faster than ever before. He indicated that the organization has since been increasing prices. The price increment seems to be bringing a negative effect on the well-being of the championship, which might lead to its knees. Unfortunately, this price increase will end up limiting the attendance of most fans at the games. The same will affect its revenue streams, causing more financial strains in the near future. In his statement, he noted that due to this change, UFC might end up failing to manage its own expense, especially if there is limited income. Subsequently, the more negative impact is likely to befall it once they cannot afford to maintain their fighters. More news on this unprecedented happening at UFC could also be a product of possible mismanagement. The organization seems to have been changing some operations and its planning aspect. But as per Dana's observation, it is clear to him that the whole championship could be on its deathbed or at least weakening bit by bit. And it is likely to end up broke and bankrupt eventually. But to what does he attribute this weakness? Against Dana's sentiments seem to dig deep to the UFC organization. This time he seems to be blaming the changing but favorite fighter they have in the game. In his speech, he mentioned that Conor McGregor is perhaps the best fighter that UFC has and has brought in a lot of glory to the ring. Having gathered his victories through the fearless fight, it is clear that he has continued to be an asset. However, the same glory that he has gained could become a source of his downfall. He is currently known to be working on his injury, which is already a point to note of. This is due to the previous fight that left him nursing and laid back. Yet, it is necessary to note that his lack of involvement in the ring can affect his earning and that of the overall UFC. Considering this low amount, then UFC might have to re-strategize before the championship is taken away. Additional thought from Dana also points to the wanting level of organizational effort that could weaken the fighting game giant in the United States. Following the need to maintain its glory as an organization, UFC may require to walk with its fighters closely. This can be a means by which they manage them and ensure their private affairs do not affect their output in the ring. As a sport, UFC does not have an option but to continue working very closely with the fighters and consider their mental stability. Once their best players are stable and working effectively towards their well-being, they can be sure that they will give their best in the fights. On the other hand, their fighters may also require motivation to get back to the game. UFC also lacks the motivation factor. Fighters that have been away can be motivated to start working their way upwards. For instance, Conor McGregor is currently nursing his injury. Yet, following closely on Dana's comment, it is clear that there is a need to continue supporting this fighter and giving him the necessary special treatment he deserves. This is because such attention can be a source of strengthening him and soon getting him back in shape and ready to defend the title, which is the ultimate goal. So everyone must focus on the things that matter and not the aspect of jealousy due to special treatment. There is another side of this whole subject that Dana could also be pointing at. The fact that some fighters are coming on board with contrary opinions that Conor will only walk in to grab his title back without defending it. Now, this is not how the game is played, and even the best of the best must get back to business and defend his title. This way, he maintains his pride, and UFC gets what it deserves. The game is all about getting your reward after a well-done job and nothing else. Hence, these rumors running around yet are non-founded can be another weakening point for UFC. But here's the catch that is likely to affect the game extensively. In most cases, favoritism does not have a good impact on an organization. In this case, the fighting game is one that requires people to get their deserving rewards. However, his continued will to give Conor unwavering support and hand him his previous earned title might lead to an uproar. This will be a good foundation for UFC's downfall once the organization and fans walk out on him. After a long time of seeking options, another strategy that requires to be considered the soonest possible is not to force Conor into a title fight like he might be planning. Currently, there is a need and a lot of pressure to ensure that UFC remains afloat with its best fighter in the ring. However, this same move is likely to fail. Often you can give your best if only you have inner and self-motivation. In this case, pushing Conor to the ring for the title fight might lead to a poor turnout and finally failure, which will again affect the UFC organization. So everyone has to wait for the best that is yet to come. Now that Conor has been the best, it is necessary to keep him on board and close. He is also a loyal fighter that has grown his fighting career at UFC, so the organization can consider working on him and give him space to continue healing until he is fully recovered. Once he gets to the ring, Conor can be sure to put up a fierce fight that will bring the title back home. This will maintain UFC at its right place, which is far from bankrupt. On the other hand, Dana White might also have a fear of bankruptcy possible because he does not have any other option except for Conor. This could be the source of his need to cling to him. He thinks that without Conor, UFC cannot stand on its own and is thus spreading his lack of faith in the other fighters. The good news is that if the other fighters are working hard, then there are chances of maintaining UFC's glory, even if it means starting from scratch. So Dana's fears must be held at least for a while and always remain optimistic, even for the rest of the team on the ground. If you like more of such content, remember to subscribe and like.